Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar on residency match pathways, really providing insights for IMGs who are, of course, seeking to go through that residency process. And these are insights coming from IMGs who have gone through one of two matching systems. So either here in Canada or in the US. Bienvenue à tous à notre webinaire Stratégies pour être jumelle à un programme de résidence en médecine. Today, we are pleased to offer interpretation services using Worldly AI. During this event, of course, to ensure accessibility and inclusivity for all of our participants. Here are some ways, of course, to access the services. So we recommend downloading the Zoom app to access captions directly in your selected language within the Zoom window as a side pop-up. If you prefer to use the web version of Zoom or require audio interpretations, we recommend using a headset for the best audio quality. Please use the link below or scan the QR code to access interpretation sessions in a separate window. We will also send these instructions in the meeting chat. So Mohammed, could you just go ahead and just send that as well? So for those persons who registered after this was sent, that will also be sent in the chat for you. If you have any questions or need assistance, please contact our IT support team at itsupport@pegasusinstitute.ca. Nous sommes heureux d'offrir des services interprétation via Wordly AI durant cet événement afin de garantir l'accessibilité et l'inclusivité pour tous les participants. Voici comment accéder au service d'interprétation. Nous vous recommandons de télécharger l'application Zoom pour activer les sous-titres dans la langue de votre choix directement dans la fenêtre Zoom. Si vous utilisez la version web de Zoom ou si vous préférez une interprétation audio, nous vous conseillons d'utiliser un casque audio pour une meilleure qualité sonore. Voulez utiliser les lignes ci-dessus ou scanner le code QR pour accéder à la session d'interprétation dans une fenêtre séparée. Ces instructions seront également partagées dans le chat de la réunion. Pour toute question ou assistance supplémentaire, voulez contacter notre équipe de soutien informatique à itsupport@pegasusinstitute.ca. For those persons who are on the meeting now, so the chat feature is open, it's accessible to you while the presenters are going through or facilitators are going through. You can pose your question in the chat. We will have our facilitators respond to those questions after they are finished with their delivery. You can also use the raise hand feature when we have the session open for question and answer. You can use the raise hand feature as well. You should find those icons at the top of your Zoom window. And of course, we'll ask that you remain on mute while the facilitators are speaking, all right, throughout the session, unless, of course, you are asking a question during those times when we have the floor open for question and answer. I'd like to thank our facilitators for joining. So Zara Abaspor and Joanna Mokas for joining the session today. And of course, these are persons who have, or individuals who have gone through the same path that you're seeking to go through right now. So they have those lived experiences, and today are here to share those lived experiences with you. I'd like to thank Baitak IT and Mohammed, who is here with us and has been our IT support person for the IEHP program. Welcome, everyone. Now, I would like to continue with the land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinabek, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and the Huron-Wendat people. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also recognize that Toronto is subject of the Dish with One Spoon, the Wampum Belt Covenant, an agreement to peaceably share and care for the Great Lakes region. So whether you were brought here forcefully or you were forcibly displaced from your homeland and taken to Canada by your parents, or you came of your own volition, we are all treaty peoples. And the treaty and covenants covering your specific locale. So I'm located in Toronto, hence my treaty is what I'm reading now. Your treaty, you can find that at the web link that is available on the screen here that is displayed. So Toronto is covered by Treaty 13, signed with the Mississauga of the Credit, and the Williams Treaty signed with multiple Mississauga and Chippewa bands. As we gather, we commit ourselves to the ongoing work of reconciliation and stewardship by paying respect to their elders, past and present, and acknowledge the enduring presence and resilience of the Indigenous people on this land. I usually like to start off as well with our vision and mission. So when we created the IEHP program, this is really what we envision or what we want to achieve out of all of these activities that we arrange for IEHPs here in Canada. And so today, as we target international medical graduates, this is what we want to see, a future where the international medical graduates coming into Canada are seamlessly able to integrate into that diverse, inclusive Canadian healthcare system, where they're able to, of course, leverage their skills and expertise to benefit the healthcare system here in Canada. So doing what you love to benefit those who need your expertise here in Canada. And that is what we hope for. How is it that we are doing this? Of course, we aim to support persons who are internationally educated healthcare professionals, especially or refugee and asylum seeking healthcare health professionals, because what we find is that most times those persons are or face the most disadvantage in terms of that displacement and access to resources and their ability to go through those pathways and processes that are needed to successfully integrate into the Canadian healthcare workforce. We do this through pathway guidance, skill development, and career connections. And today, the component that we will be looking at is pathway guidance for the IMGs, so those persons who are seeking to go through CaRMS process, for example. How is it that you can increase your competitiveness or, of course, bolster your profile as an IMG to compete with those other international medical graduates, as well as those domestic trained medical graduates who are going up for CaRMS. Because if it is that you don't have a competitive CaRMS profile, or if it is that you're applying to residency in the US, what is it that you need to do? Okay. And how is it that you can, of course, have that profile that is able to stand out against those other medical graduates in the US that you're competing against for those residency programs? And so as we go through today, of course, these are some of the things that we're going to be looking at. We have with us Zara, and just one moment.
Yes, we have Johanna as well here.
Okay, could you promote her as well? So I'm gonna allow, so before I ask Zara and Joanna to, of course, start with their delivery, let me say I'm very proud to say that Joanna and Zara were also mentees in the Pegasus IHP mentorship program. Okay. And so we continue to celebrate with them their successes, having matched to residency through our program. So definitely they are testament to the work that we are doing here. So as long as you apply yourselves as IMGs, whatever the services or those activities that we match you to, as long as you apply yourself to these activities, then you can be, of course, one of those success stories. All right. So welcome, Joanna. Welcome, Zara, both international medical graduates. And they will tell you a little bit more about their background as they start with their delivery. I'm going to allow Joanna first to go ahead and, of course, tell us a bit about her stories and those strategies that you need to get you to where you need to go to. All right, please help me welcome Joanna at this time.
Thank you, Dwight. Thank you, Pegasus Institute, for giving me this opportunity and platform to share my experience and journey. And also, I want to extend my congratulations to Dr. Zara on matching successfully into CaRMS. I wonder if I am able to share my screen now. So I prepared a brief PowerPoint presentation just to give me guidance on how to best describe my journey in the process of matching in ERAS or in the process of matching in a U.S. Medical residency. So first, a brief introduction about myself. So I am a foreign medical graduate. I am originally from East Africa. I graduated from my medical school in 2019, and I began my USMLE journey in 2021. I came to Canada in 23. I applied to Match 2024, that is in the US, but I went unmatched. And upon my second cycle of application, I successfully matched into IM residency program this year in 2025. So just a brief overview of my personal journey in Canada, some of the advantages I was able to obtain being in Canada, and some of the obstacles or difficulties that I faced in Canada. So on the first part of the screen are the advantages or privileges that I was able to experience in Canada. And some of the things that really helped me in my journey is the abundance of services and programs providing useful information in terms of credentialing for newcomers, such as myself, job search resources, and resume preparation resources. I have quoted an example here, the YMCA, but there are plenty of resources, plenty of programs and services that provide job search and resume preparation assistance. The other thing is the flexibility in the types of jobs that you can apply to, especially in healthcare. So most of the time, those type of jobs require a brief training or a brief course. But I found that some of the jobs that are listed on the screen to be a good way of gaining clinical experience sometimes, and generally Canadian experience. So I worked for about a year as a medical scribe. I've also worked as a medical assistant in a medical office. Currently, I'm working as a medical interpreter. There are other alternatives like data coordination and research, care worker, phlebotomy, and so on. So there are different types of jobs in healthcare that are available to newcomers and can be a way of introducing or familiarizing with the Canadian healthcare system. Other things that I found to be really helpful is that there are multiple opportunities for volunteering and shadowing. And I'll come to that in a bit. And another thing is opportunities for networking and mingling with peers and colleagues in healthcare. So last year was the first ever IMG conference that was held in Toronto, and I was privileged enough to attend the conference and meet wonderful peers and colleagues and mentors in healthcare with different kind of experiences, different backgrounds, and so on. And I was also fortunate enough to meet Dwight and also other members of Pegasus Institute. And as you all know, well, Pegasus Institute has been has played a very critical part in my journey, and I'm super grateful for my encounter last year with Dwight. And some of the challenges that I have faced is, especially if you're considering applying to the US medical residency, a critical part of the application is finding US clinical experience. So that was one of the challenges that I faced, and so I was able to overcome this challenge by opting for tele-rotations instead of actual in-person rotations or observerships. Tele-rotations are virtual rotations, and most likely now they're going to be a thing of the past because tele-rotations, they became a dominant part of the U.S. Clinical experience or the U.S. medical license or residency applications during the COVID era, because it was difficult to travel at that time. But still, if you do not have any options of traveling to the US or any options of getting a US clinical experience, it's a good alternative. And you can also supplement your clinical experience with Canadian hands-on experience, a Canadian observership or shadowing. And even though there are differences between the US and the Canadian healthcare system, there are also a lot of similarities, and it's good experience to have prior to application. And another challenge that I faced was getting a US visa. This was to complete an in-person observership or an in-person clinical experience, or even to do step 3 USMLE exam. Because you need to be physically present within the US to be able to do the third exam. So these were some of the pros and cons that I faced since arriving in Canada. Mostly pros, luckily. So some of the common barriers I feel are commonly faced by IMGs are listed on this slide, and some ways of overcoming them that I found to be useful. In my case, I've listed on this slide. So the major issue I faced initially was information overload. The amount of information I was receiving about the US medical licensing exam, the Canadian licensing exam, all of the information became overwhelming at some point. And what really helped me was finding a mentor, someone who has successfully completed the application process, successfully matched either in CaRMS or in the US, and someone who is able to give me guidance and support when I am feeling overwhelmed by some information. So this is a very important tool to have. Having a mentor is something that I advocate all of the IMGs who are planning to go into residency application to have. And another thing is to find a healthy way to vent and share your frustrations. Know that in this journey, you're not alone. There are a thousand other people going through a similar journey, and you just have to reach out, talk to people, and share your experiences and listen to theirs. So seeking help is also part of that, and also using information forums. Reddit was my go-to information or opinion forum for some of the questions I had, even minor questions about the application processes. So this is a good tool to have as well. Another barrier is regarding credentialing and job search, or not knowing where or how to do credentialing and how to get support for job search. And as you all know, there are many resources that provide, for example, WES credential verification. I don't know if you're able to see my my camera, but there are many resources. Oh, I don't have the paper here, but I will try to post the resource on the comment section if I find it. Just to go back to the presentation. And in terms of finances, the USMLE journey and even the CaRMS is very costly. And the financial burden can be discouraging, but it shouldn't be, because there are many ways that you can finance your journey. And I will refer you to one of the sessions that were held by Pegasus Institute and the CHEV. And this was a session on mentorship and financial support for professional journey. And there are many programs and resources that allow you to finance or take a line of credit for financing your USMLE or CaRMS journey. So again, just reach out to these programs and do or choose a plan that works best for you. You don't have to defer your dreams of becoming a doctor or your dreams of matching into CaRMS and USMLE because of financial burdens or stress. And the last thing is time management. As you know, it's as a foreign graduate in Canada, I'm sure many people are juggling a lot of things. Some people are working 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs. Some people are in training institutes and are in the middle of achieving higher education. Some people are juggling family life. And so it's very hard to manage all of that and find time to study or prepare. So you have to be wise in how to allocate your time or how to dedicate some time towards your USMLE exam preparation, to your application preparation, to your interview preparation, and so on. So next, I'm going to go into just an overview of what the U.S. residency match is like. So the steps from beginning to match. The first step you have to do is you have to get a USMLE ID, and you have to use this ECFMG, which is the Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates, and you have to be verified, and your academic credential has to be verified by ECFMG. So once this is done, you can sign up for USMLE Step 1 and USMLE Step 2 CK. And afterwards, you have to take the OET exam, which is the Occupational English Test. And following that, you have to be certified by ECFMG, which is different from a verification. To be ECFMG certified, you have to go through one of the 6 pathways for certification, according to ECFMG, and you can find this information on the ECFMG website. And after you become certified, then you can apply through ERAS for residency programs. One point to make here is even before, even after you apply to programs, you can take the occupational English test and become ECFMG certified. You don't exactly have to be certified by the time you apply, but you have to be certified by the time you interview or before you match. So ECFMG certification is one of the requirements for matching. You have to have that certificate. Again, there are also some programs that do not require a Step 2 CK exam results when you're first applying. But it's good to have these completed before you start your application submission. So after you applied through ERAS, we're going to talk briefly about what ERAS is. Then you start getting interviews, and then you have to rank the programs where you interviewed at based on your liking, and finally is match. So what ERAS is the electronic residency application services. So this is a portal through which you submit everything that that defines you as a medical doctor or a healthcare professional. So you have to submit things here that the programs are going to see later once you submit your application. So you have to prepare your ERA CV, as you can see on the first portion of the screen. So this talks about your education, your experiences, your licensure and publications. And then on the second part of the screen, these are documents that you have to, some of the documents you have to upload yourself. Some of the documents are uploaded by your recommenders. For example, the letters of recommendations are uploaded by the people or the doctors who are recommending you. The personal statement is something that you draft, of course. The medical transcript and the dean's letter, those are done by the school. And the photo, of course, you have to upload your photo. And here under programs, this is where you choose which programs to send your application to. And how do you know which programs to choose? We're going to talk about that on the next slide. So this is the deal breaker for ERAS. So you have to spend a significant amount of time drafting and perfecting everything that goes into this portal, because it's the first thing that program directors and program coordinators see when they receive your application, and you have to make good first impression. So the ERAS application program filtering process. How do you choose which programs to select or to apply to? There are plenty of resources, websites that you can use to filter out programs based on, for example, whether they are visa sponsoring or not, based on whether they are IMG friendly or not, based on year of graduation, based on step score cutoff, and a lot of other criteria. I have listed some of the websites that I've used in selecting the programs that I apply to. Frida is the main one. The advantage of Frida I found was that you can filter out programs based on year of graduation. So especially being an old graduate with my year of graduation being more than 5 years, I was conscious about being filtered out by the computer systems based on my year of graduation. So I was able to select those programs that accept applicants with higher year of graduation, and I used Frida for that. I was also able to filter out which programs are community programs, which programs are university affiliated programs, and so on, using Frida. Residency Explorer is also a good alternative, and you can also use the ACGME website to see new programs that become accredited after the application cycle begins. You can see those websites before September, between December and February, just in between the interview season or the application cycle. And if needed, you can use it after the match week if you do not match. So here we have the calendar for the main residency match for 2026. So for applicants or for audience members who are planning to apply this year. So this is the schedule or the calendar that you have to follow. So some of the strategies that you can use to succeed. This is just a generalization. You have to begin early. Like I said, the ERAS application process is very time consuming, and it's the deal breaker. It makes or breaks your application. So you have to dedicate your time to perfect it if possible. So the earlier you begin, the better. So even though the ERAS website or the portal becomes available, I believe in might be in June. It was in June in our case, but here it says May. So even though I believe it's in June, last year was in June. So once the ERAS portal opens up, you can start inputting the information for your ERAS CV. But all the other things you can do even before ERAS portal opens up. Like, for example, drafting your personal statement, asking your recommenders to prepare the letter of recommendation so that once the portal is ready, they can just quickly upload it. And asking your school to prepare your dean's letter or the medical school transcript. So start early. The other thing is you have to broaden your network. Networking is very, very vital. I used different platforms such as LinkedIn. Of course, you're not going to succeed with sometimes with reaching out to people on these platforms such as LinkedIn. You may not get responses, but just the one or two responses you get is enough to find a mentor, someone who can guide you, someone who can assist you along your journey. And the other thing is you have to be flexible. It may not be a smooth road. There are gonna be bumps along the way, but you have to be flexible enough to maneuver around some of the challenges that you may encounter, and you should never give up hope. I have a quote here from Bruce Lee: "Do not fear failure. Not failure, but low aim is the crime. In great attempts, it is glorious even to fail." So behind a lot of success stories, you're gonna hear that there were many failures or many fails before they reached that success, that level of success. So don't be afraid to fall. If you fall, just pick yourself up, dust yourself up, and just get back in the game. So other things that helped me to succeed in the match application this year is, as I said before, networking is very vital. That's why I've probably added it again on the screen. Clinical observership or clinical experience is very important as well. And I was lucky enough to do an observership through Pegasus Institute. And that has been a very helpful to my application. Another thing is volunteering experience, especially if you're considering going into family medicine, for example. Volunteering in the community is very important. Volunteering at hospitals, volunteering at senior homes, and so on, that's very important. Not just for the application, by the way, but it's a fulfilling experience, and you get to meet a lot of awesome people as well. Another thing, which is not a must, but it's good to have research and publications, especially if you're going into research-heavy specialties like internal medicine, radiology, and so on. So it's good to have experience or research in those areas or specialties. And you have to ensure your CV is tailored to your specialty. If you're considering family medicine, then you have to pick these experiences from your journey that describes how well you perform or what you have accomplished in a community setting, for example. And then you have to work on your personal statement. Again, when the program directors first open your application, it is your CV and your personal statement that they see. So you have to make a very good impression to be selected to interview. So you have to spend time drafting your personal statement. Ask as many people as possible to review your personal statement, to work with you on editing your personal statement, and so on. And if necessary, you can also use paid services. There are plenty out there. And another thing that has that has helped me to succeed is to apply broadly and also wisely. So I will mention one advice that one of my mentors gave to me. So unless you have a highly competitive profile, it's not worth it to apply to those big university hospitals, academic hospitals, and so on. So you have to be selective in the programs that you choose to apply to. And another thing that you have to be wise on is using your signals. So signals is a special part of the ERAS application process. It's a way of like pinging or telling your programs, select programs that you are very interested in those programs, maybe because of geographic preference, maybe because you have connections, family there. So it's a way of telling that program that you really want to train there. And of course, prepping for interview is very important. If you can do it daily, as much as possible. Prep or rehearse with your friends, with other applicants and seniors who have successfully matched. So this is very important. And this is my personal experience. If your year of graduation is more than 5 years, completing step 3 is very helpful. And so hopefully if you do all of these things, you'll be at the receiving end of one of those emails on the right side of the screen. So over the next couple of slides, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the percentage of matched applicants in 2024. So you can see here that the match rate for non-US citizen IMGs is 58%. And this has been pretty much constant in the area of between 50 and 60%, but it has shown a 0.5% decline since last year. Oh, this is for 2025, my apologies. So some survey data from program directors for Match 2024 reveals that the most common specialties that IMGs are interviewed at and ranked at is internal medicine, pathology, and neurology. And particularly for US IMGs, family medicine was also had a high frequency. And some of the top factors that program directors used to interview and rank applicants. For interview, it was step score, dean's letter, and also specialty-specific letters of recommendation. This is specifically true in family medicine. If you see the chart on the left side of the screen, the top criteria that program directors used when selecting applicants to interview is letters of recommendation in the specialty. So that's important to have, connections in the specialty, to have clinical experience in that specialty, and so on. And for ranking, the most important factors include interpersonal skills, interview performance, feedback from current residents. And as you can see on this slide, the top factors that program directors used for ranking the applicants is it's not about the score, it's not about the academia, it's not about the awards that person has, but about the personality that the person has. They want to be able to they want to know that you are trainable, that you are easy to work with and easy to train. And here I've listed some of the resources I've used for USMLE Step 1 preparation, Step 2 as well. And here resources for USMLE Step 3 preparation. And I've added some resources or websites that I've used over the course of my journey and for this presentation. So that is all I have prepared. I am happy to receive any questions yeah, thank you again.
Thank you, Johanna. We have a couple of questions actually on the chat I was looking at. So one from Serif. Thank you for this session and congratulations to Doctors Johanna and Zara. My question is, did you get any references from non-doctor supervisors / mentors? And if yes, was that helpful in your application? Thank you and congratulations again.
Yes, thank you. Actually, all of my letters of recommendation were from doctors, some US doctors, and also some Canadian doctors. I did not have recommendations from faculty members or from other supervisors. I don't know if that was the case for Zara, but maybe she can speak for herself. Yeah.
Hi everyone, thank you, Johanna. It was very nice presentation. I learned a lot. So to answer that question, for me it was the same. So all of my 3 referral letters were from family doctors, and I didn't have any like non-doctor supervisor that I had, but I didn't ask for referral letter from them. So I don't know if it's gonna be helpful to have non-doctor supervisor reference letter from, but I mean, if it's two factors play here. One of them is the letter comes from who and what is the content of the letter. So if it is a strong letter and it comes from someone who is, you think, a well-known person in their field, it might be a good letter to be in your application. But if it is just a letter and you're not sure if it is strong enough, and you're not confident about your supervisor, so I think it's better to think about it and consider other options as well.
Thank you to you both. So there is another question from Iba. May I ask how to join research groups and where to search for that as an IMG in Canada? Thank you, Doctor.
That's a good question. Yes, so the best thing or the best place to start is just ask your colleagues or your classmates from medical school, other people in healthcare to collaborate with you with a basic or simple research. You can start small, like you can do research article review, and then you can start maybe doing meta-analysis. These are ways that you can do research, or you can have publications without actually, having to do all the work, gathering data, and so on. So if you can make a small group and begin small, that is the best place to start. And there are also other research forums that you can join. I don't have the links for them now, but I will find them now and I will type it in the comments.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Mugas, for the very informative, contentful presentation that you just gave. And I hope that, of course, like you were feeling, that our participants that are on the platform today are not going to be overwhelmed with this volume of useful information that was shared by you. And of course, that is upcoming from our other facilitator, Dr. Abasport. Thank you so much. And for the participants with those questions, thank you for your questions. Continue to post the questions in the chat. So we've taken 2 of those questions at this time. I'm going to be asking Dr. Abaspor to start with her delivery, and then all other questions will take them after she is finished. Please help me welcome Dr. Zara Abaspor, who's going to be presenting for the next couple of minutes.
Thank you. So, hi everyone. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you, Dr. Johanna. You made my presentation very easier. You provided many useful information. And so the thing is that there is very similarity between CaRMS and ERAS. So having all those information helps with CaRMS application as well. So what I'm thinking is that what I like really to do is to share my story with you all, and also hear what you're thinking. What have you experienced, and what are you experiencing now? So I'm going to ask questions from you as well. So please feel free to unmute yourself, share your stories, share your concerns and questions. So I'm going to start with introducing myself. I'm Zara. I graduated from Iran. I graduated at 2012. And after graduation, I worked as a family doctor and emergency doctor for 2 years. And then I did my postdoctoral in psychosomatic medicine. After that, I moved to Canada by end of 2017. And I did my NAC exam and Q1 exam. And at the same time, I started working as a clinical research assistant volunteer at CAMH and later at Queen's University. I would say by 2020, I applied for CaRMS, 2020 and 2021. I went unmatched, and then it was the time that I asked myself a question: that's really what I like to do. Is it what that trying to apply for CaRMS? And later I will explain, as Dr. Johanna mentioned, it's really time consuming process. So when you plan to apply after doing everything and having all the requirements, you want to say you need at least to have a year to prepare everything. So I asked myself, is it what I like? And I also was under the impression that it might be a closed door. So continuing applying gonna help me, or is it that I prefer to do something else? So by that time, I decided to take a step away from CaRMS for a while. And at the same time, I received an invitation to work as a clinical researcher in a medical device company, which was a new field for me. And I was curious to see how industry works. So I started to work in a medical device company as a clinical researcher, and then later as a clinical research manager, which I learned a lot working with FDA and lots of other things. And then after 3 years, I felt, okay, I have many years of experience as a researcher, and I know that I feel much more satisfied if I work as a clinician. So I decided to give myself one more chance of applying for CaRMS. And at the same time, I started preparing for step exams as well. So I had this plan that if it didn't go well with CaRMS, so I have US or Australia as a second option. So, and also I'm saying that because I had experience and worked as a family doctor, so I was qualified to apply for some other countries. So I explored all of my options because I was sure at this point that I want to work as a clinician. So then again, I stopped working as at the medical device company, and then I was very lucky and honored to start working with Dalhousie University with Dr. Kevin Potty as a clinical research assistant, and coming back to the academia somehow. And then I started to work on my CaRMS application. And then I was very lucky that I matched this time. And I knew that then I don't have to move. I don't have to move to US or any other country. But and I knew that I'm glad that I made that choice. So this is about me. I'm living in Toronto. I'm matched to U of T, and I'm living with my husband. And yeah, I don't have family members here. It's my husband and me. Yeah, this is about me, my journey mostly. It is about my I would say it's about my career journey. It's not my personal journey, but the next thing that I want to share with you is my personal journey in Canada and Canadian healthcare system. So this is my story, and it might be different from other people. So anyone that's going to share it with you, or even the experience that you have had might be different from mine. But from the first day that I came, I had this impression that internationally educated health professionals are not very welcomed in Canadian healthcare system, and most of the doors are closed, and it takes multiple time of try and lots of effort to find an open door. And I believe it has been my experience from the time that I came to Canada till like last year, and it made it difficult because when you want to live in a country, you want to also be socially active. You want to work as a internationally educated health professional. You have lots of experience, lots of qualifications, and then you might feel satisfied when you will be able to use them. So not being able to use them and feeling like getting rejected from programs and like even not just CaRMS, just applying for research, any other job opportunities, that can be the case for many of us. It just can result in feeling frustrated. So I'm just sharing that to say that if you're feeling that, you're not alone. Many of us have experienced that, and it is the nature of the process. So I really love the part that Dr. Johanna mentioned, that you're gonna face many difficulties. You might feel that it's just so difficult. You might feel that you might not be able to continue, but just give yourself a little time and continue. What you need during this process is to be consistent. You don't need to be fast, really. You just need to be consistent and strong and believe in yourself. This is what you need. You need to find your supports, your network, your friends, your mentors, and then try to navigate yourself. So the road might be like the road and the pathway that you can find for yourself might be different from other people. But I mean, when you start to searching around, you're gonna build your path. So just to start and stay consistent, resilient, and then you're gonna be able to find where fits best for you. So in terms of the common barriers that I faced, so I would like to ask this question first from you. What have been your experience regard as a internationally educated health professional? What has been the barriers that you have faced? So you can use chat, you can unmute yourself, but I really love to hear what was your experience. Iba, I can see that you have raised your hand. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Dr. Zara. Thank you so much. And thank you, Dr. Johanna, as well. And congratulations. For me, I graduated last year and then from Sudan. My name is Iba Said from Sudan. And I came here like after graduation directly. So I don't have any postgraduate training or any experience in working like independently. I came here and then I started preparing for my QE1 exam. I took it last week, thankfully, and now I'm like in the process of preparing to take my NAC OSCE exam. And during this time, I was also like looking for like having clinical experience or resource experience and networking. And the difficulties that I'm facing right now, like I'm still facing them, is that as a newcomer, like I have no one and I have no like network. And so I think this is like the most difficult like part for me right now, is that I don't know anything about the country, and I also don't have any like network. I have been to the IMG conference as well last year. It was very, very helpful. Um, I met a few people, but I wasn't able to like find a mentor or network a lot. And yeah, I think that's like the major difficulties that I'm having, and that's what's like happening with my journey so far. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you, Eva. So I really loved the point that you shared. Um, so I think, as someone who is new to the country, it is one of the main obstacles that we face, being alone, being new. Everything is new and it's not home. So it takes time to just make it as a second home. And I remember that when I moved to Canada, the first questions that my friends used to ask me was that, have you found out where you want to buy your bread, your grocery from? But have you found your favorite bread, your favorite yogurt? It was the main question they were asking me, and they were saying that when you found out an answer to that question, it means that you're getting to know what's around you. So and it took a couple of months. So it was not easy to find out which cheese is my favorite one, which bread is my favorite one. And then I realized that why those friends are asking this question. They have been living in Canada for like 20 years, and their experience was that, okay, when you have answer to those questions, it means that you're just getting a little you have this you're getting to know what's happening around you. So the thing is that this is what your experience is very natural part of the process of moving to a new uh, country. And I would say it puts lots of pressure on all of us. So you come from your home, and then you knew everything. You had many places. You knew where you go to walk. You had like some favorite places, favorite restaurants. You had your friends. You had your families, and then you come here. Everything is new. So this is one of the main barriers that we have, to be honest. And then as a healthcare professionals, because we cannot start working, and we cannot just be socially active, and we have to focus on our exams, sit down and like get ready for the exams for a long time. It just delay the process much more. So what I found that helped me a lot during this process was finding friends, finding networking, and finding mentors. So I had different friends, and I had like people that I would meet in person. We would study together. So it helped me a lot to not study alone. I had study partners. I had study partners, and I had virtual one that she was. I had four virtual study partners. They were living across Canada, in Montreal, Calgary, and through Zoom, we had times that we would sit together and study together and practice. And then I had a friend that we would go to our home, and she became my dearest friend. She is my dear friend even now, and we built up a relationship. We supported each other throughout the process. So what I'm trying to say here is that find as much as friend as you can. Support people and ask for support. So you can create circle of love and continue circle of love. And I mean, during this process, there is like, to my experience, reaching out to institutions like Pegasus, gonna be so helpful. They will connect you to people, to mentors that can help you. So what I'm trying to say is ask for help. Ask help from your friends, from your families, from any like institutes or programs that can help you. It was very helpful for me, and I think the main thing that made the process like I don't want to say smooth, but I was able to navigate and find my way. One of the main thing was my friends and my mentors who shed light on my path. So I hope I have answered that question, but it was a very good question, and it was one of the main thing that I wanted to mention here. I can see that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zara. That was so insightful and helpful. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. I can see Abakar. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name incorrectly, but I can see that your hand is raised. Please go ahead.
Yes, hi, Dr. Zara. Congratulations, all of you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you. Yeah, I want to share some challenges that I'm facing. So I came here in Canada as a refugee, and after coming here, I faced a little bit of challenges physically and mentally, and that created a gap in my profession. And networking is an issue, and method of reference is an issue. So how to overcome all of these from your perspective? Thank you.
I'm sorry that I need to ask you a question. So is it that you're asking about the reference letters?
Recency of practice
Okay.
and how to obtain reference. All of these are barriers for me.
Recency of practice and the last one.
Letter of reference.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, your voice is a little muffled, so this is why I'm asking that. Okay, thank you so much. So, reference letters, I will come back to this question and recency of practice. So I can quickly touch on recency of practice, but this is reference letters. Letters are something that I have. I want to talk about them in details later. But recency of practice, I believe it depends on which program you apply. And recency of practice is one of the main obstacles and barrier again for international. So just to be realistic, when you move from to a new country, it takes a couple of years to do all the exams and get the application ready. Unless you had everything ready ahead of time, before you move, you knew where you are going, you knew what are the exams that you're going to take, and you were ready for them. Otherwise, it's going to take a while. And then building up the resumes and a resume and having Canadian experience is another thing, which is not easy at all. So it's time consuming. So to my experience, CaRMS is not heavily invested on recency of practice. And this is why I went for CaRMS. I didn't go for provincial programs. CaRMS, they are, because my understanding is that because through CaRMS, you are going to do residency and you're going to receive training. So you're not starting your practice independently immediately. So they are mostly focused on other aspects of resume. So and then it can differ program to program, but for Canadian like CaRMS, for international IEHBs, they match mostly to family medicine. We don't have like that much options in other disciplines. So family medicine is the one that is mostly open to internationally educated health professionals. It's unfortunate, but this is the reality. But I mean, I have seen even with the just looking at my friends who are matched recently, I would say recency of practice is not something that you need to be worried if you are applying for CaRMS. So if you're applying for CaRMS, you can work on other aspects of your resume to overcome the gap that you have in your practice. But for provincial programs, recency of practice is a requirement. So this is not something that you can like work around it. It is a requirement, so you need to have it. But for CaRMS, I would say this is not a concern, like really. So there is many other ways that you can overcome that. So I hope I have answered your question, but I will come back and touch on reference letter later. So is there anyone else who wants to share their experience regarding the barriers that they have faced? Okay. So I have faced the same experience that the same barriers that you shared with me. Just in addition to that, I would say one of the main things that we need to understand if we want to work as a physician in Canadian healthcare system is to understand how what is the mindset here, how the healthcare system works. And it is one of the main barrier for internationally educated health professionals because we are coming from different setting. So it doesn't mean that any of this like settings are better or worse, but it means that they are different and we need to learn and we need to just be able to and be flexible, good learners, very good observers to understand what's happening and what are the expectations, what are the priorities, how Canadian healthcare system works. So even after getting matched to residency, this is one of the barrier that IMGs face because like even like I'm giving you a very simple example, which is EMR. It has a different setting. It works in a way that many of us might not have used to it, and we don't know how to document things, how to work with EMR, and then it makes the residency very challenging. So what I'm trying to say here is that as much as exposure you get to Canadian healthcare system during the time that you're getting ready to apply for CaRMS or any other program, it's gonna help you to not only build up your resume, just it's gonna help you to be a very good candidate. So Dr. Johanna was talking about interview, and she shared very important thing with all of us, and it was that the program directors, they looked into the interpersonal skills, and it was the main thing that it was important for them. And this is something that you're gonna learn a lot when you have exposure to Canadian healthcare system. You have lots of skills, interpersonal skills, but then working in Canadian healthcare system in different roles as an observer, as a clinical assistant, physician assistant, any role that you can think of, gonna help you to be able to build up on your interpersonal skills. Mohammed, I see your hand is raised.
Sorry, Zara, just thank you very much for the great presentation. Just for the time's sake, we have a few questions in the chat. We would like to go through them. So the first we from Bridget Stephanie. In which university or college can we apply for a certificate in clinical research?
For clinical research, so I don't think you need any certificate for that. I mean, you can there's lots of certificates you can search. There is different programs that you can get certificate for that. Some of them are virtual, some of them are in person, but I mean, I never had any certificate for that. I had experience in research. I did my postdoc, and then I worked as a clinical research assistant as a volunteer. But I mean, you really don't need that, but if you think you need to get a certificate and you think that it's gonna help with your resume, you can do it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is important that you find you have networks, and you can find someone who is willing to work with you. So yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Thank you. And there is another question from Opemi. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Did you explore PRA routes at any time, and why did you go for CaRMS, Dr. Zara? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I answered that question, and I mentioned that it's mostly because of the recency of practice, and the focus of the provincial programs on recency of practice. So CARMS, I I really liked to do residency. Just from my perspective, it was I was interested to do residency in Canadian healthcare system, and also I had this feeling that my resume is a better match for CARMS compared to provincial programs.
Okay, so we have something from Aliyah. My very low QE1 score seems to be barrier. Just took my NAC OSCE and will be going back home for residency of practice. Residency of practice. And there is a follow-up from Kima. Please let me know, how do I get observership opportunities in Toronto? It's very difficult to get an opportunity.
So let me answer the first question, low QE1. So what I have heard is that sometimes some of the programs might have threshold for some of the exam, like NAC or for QE1, and the threshold might differ year to like each year. So I mean, I don't know how low it is, but sometimes if they put a threshold for Q1, just your resume and your application might even not go through review. So they have like very the filters that they are being applied automatically to the resumes and everything. So I mean, it depends how low it is, but you always have this option of working on other aspects of your resume. For example, your NAC scores is something that can help you a lot. And I know that some of the programs, even they look at NAC scores. NAC scores are much more important for them compared to QE1. So if you have high scores in the NAC, you have very good recommendation letters, you have good resume, you should be able to overcome that problem, but it depends on the program as well. And for the observerships, so it's difficult to get observerships. I know that most of the physicians, they find it as a responsibility for them, because we're going to be there as an observer, so it's going to be a confidentiality problem. We're going to have access, like we're going to be able to see EMR. So they're going to be like so much responsibility on the physicians, and some of the physicians, they have very busy schedules, so they might prefer to have someone as an observer that they know, and if they have time. So I would say just start to reach out to as many as people as you can. You can. I once reached out to Pegasus. Device was so kind to connect me with some of the mentors. I know that Pegasus can do that as well. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I mean, it's difficult. I did my I couldn't find good observership in Toronto, so I did all my observership in London. So I was traveling every day, morning 2 hours going to London and then coming back to Toronto. So I really wanted to do observership, and I wanted to do it on a specific clinic. So I was so glad to do it. So just be flexible and be open to different settings to do observership. So just reach out to different people, find observerships and do it. And I wanted to touch on observerships and highlight this point later, but I can do it now. But I wanted to say that it is very important for you to do observership or physician assistant, because, as I said, it's going to give you so many exposure to healthcare system and you're going to learn a lot. But later you need reference letters as well. So if you have done multiple observerships, you have the option of choosing where you want to get your reference letter from. Because when you start doing observerships, it's just so natural and normal to make mistakes. You don't know what's happening, how to to work in the new settings that you are just started your observership in. And then but after you do like a couple of observerships, it's going to be very easy for you to navigate. And then when you finish your observership, you want to ask your supervisor, do you feel comfortable to give me a reference letter? And then if they said, yes, we do, and we will give you a strong reference letter, then this is the one that you want to put on your the reference letter that you want to put on your application. So what I'm trying to say is that give yourself enough time to be able to do observership and to be able to make mistakes, and those mistakes won't reflect on your application. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Zara. Just to add, so we do have opportunities for those observership or shadowing. They're not in Toronto. Right now, we only have one space in Toronto, and of course, pretty selective in terms of the persons who get these opportunities. If you go into the other cities, so Kitchener, Waterloo, London, Caledonia, recently we've had call outs to the persons in the mentorship program who are interested in observerships or shadowing opportunities in those cities. Whenever those opportunities arise, that's what we have to offer. I'm asking that you make the most of those opportunities. In Toronto, you will find that you're going to be competing with the Canadian medical graduates and other IMGs as well, who are in the city, not very flexible enough in terms of going outside of the city of Toronto. So you're going to find yourself competing with those persons to get those spaces. And again, just like Zara says, it goes back to who the physician knows. So if they know you, then they will be more readily to accept you for observership and those shadowing opportunities, as opposed to saying, okay, come and do if it is that they don't know anything about you. All right. So you have to be flexible where that is concerned. Dr. Abaspor, back to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Dwight. So, yeah, this was for the observerships. Let me look at my slides and see if I touched everything here. And for the observership, one more important thing that I would like to highlight here is that when you do observerships, make sure that you find a time to sit down with your supervisor and ask for feedback. So these feedbacks are so important and helpful. And when you receive feedback, just try to be open and see and understand that feedback and apply that to your practice, or whatever feedback is. Try to receive it openly and then show that you have learned from that feedback. This is important. Even through residency, it is so important for us to be open to the feedback and receive them, because as Johanna mentioned, that the main thing here is to see if your personality is the kind of personality that it is easy to work with, easy to train, easy to just make changes. So some of the feedbacks might make you feel uncomfortable, but I mean, always stay professional and be recessive, and receive the feedbacks, action on them, show you can show corrective actions, and it's gonna be reflected on the letter that they write for you, and also it's gonna show strength in you even during residency. Dwight, I can see you.
Okay, thank you. So I know we are up on time here in terms of the time that we had set for the meeting, but just one question here that I'd like to take before I allow you to put in those concluding statements. So Dr. Fadiki asked here, she says, congratulations, Dr. Zara, best wishes for the future. What advice do you have for being successful in the interview, please?
Okay. So for interview, as I said, it is not the like one month or 1 week or two, just a specific period preparation. The preparation starts from the time that you start preparing your application. So my suggestion is that to do as much as observership that you can, because the interview questions might be different from program to program, but most of the questions will be about a specific situation and how you handle those situations. So some of them are like conflict resolution, or something like difficult patient, angry patient, or ethical situation, or patient who has cognitive decline. So questions like that. And if you do observerships, if you do be exposed to Canadian healthcare system in any role, then those become natural to you. You have seen those, and it's going to be so different when you read ethics compared to the time that you are in the clinical setting, and you can see how ethics are applied. So my token for you today is that just try to do as much as observership as you can. It can be observership, clinical assistant, any roles that you can do in clinical setting, just to see how physicians practice and how they communicate with patients, how they resolve issue, how the teamwork, how they do the teamwork, lead the team, and resolve the conflicts.
Thank you so much. So I'm seeing here I'll just address this one where it says, thank you, Dr. Zara. Feedback on what exactly, please, since we're not exactly interacting with patients, or what exactly should an observership entail? All right, so that I'm seeing where, okay, this individual probably needs to have an understanding of what observership is really. So for those activities, you're really going into the practice setting of your mentor and observing whatever interaction they're having with the patient. Or they may put you to shadow other staff. So there are two things. So there's shadowing, where you're actually doing with the guidance or under the supervision of the mentor or the supervisor or the licensed professional. And then there's observership, where you're within that space and basically taking note of all of those interactions. After the end of that observership, or observing that interaction, your mentor or the supervisor may ask you questions based on the interaction. And of course, you're expected to respond based on your technical competencies at that point in time. So yes, there is assessment and there's feedback that you will get as a result of those interactions. All right. Now, thank you so much. We do have some more questions here in the chat. We're not able to take all of those questions for those persons who are asking about observership or shadowing opportunities. Please send me an email. So the same email that you received where you signed up for this session, you can just reply to that email or go to our website. You send an email from there as well. That email comes directly to me. I'd like to say thank you, Dr. Mogos and Dr. Abaspor, for ably facilitating the session and for sharing your experiences with us, for going through that detailed bits and pieces all of those personal touches that you added to the delivery as well. So telling us what to do in terms of basically conceptualizing those processes for CaRMS, for errors, to make sure that you are prepared, that as IMGs they're prepared, and that they have enough to create a competitive profile to go through the process. We really appreciate you for facilitating this session. And of course, for Mohammed joining us, Betak supporting us during the session. And to all the participants who have joined, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all of those questions that you have with our facilitators. If there are other questions of pressing concern, you want to share them with us, send them to us by email. I'll be happy to forward them to Dr. Abispor and Dr. Mogos to respond to those questions that you have. On screen, I'm just sharing with you that, of course, there is the International Medical Graduate Conference and Expo 2025 that is coming up. That will be next month, the 21st to the 22nd. So it's a 2-day conference that will be taking place at the Toronto Marriott Hotel. The website address is there on screen. You can copy that information down. For persons who are in the Pegasus program, there is a discounted rate that you can get for registering through us. There's a code that I will provide you with, a discount code that you can use. So if you look at the early bird ticket prices, they're at $75 now for the 2 days. If it is that you register through us, there's a discount code that you'll be given where you can get the tickets at a discounted price. And this is right throughout up to the deadline for registration for the conference. Also coming up, we have the International Refugee and Migration Health Conference in Halifax. Now, this conference is hosted by the Society of Refugee Healthcare Providers, and Pegasus Institute is a member of the SRHP and will be hosting a pre-conference course in collaboration with ISANS. This will take place in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So if you want to fly over to Halifax to engage in person, feel free to come and join us. In this event, we have speakers from IRCC, provincial colleges, regulatory bodies, and other immigrant serving organizations that will be coming to address the audience and participants in that event. This will take place on the 26th of June, starting at 10 a.m. Atlantic Daylight Time. So for persons in Ontario, I know majority of our program participants are in Ontario. That will be 9 o'clock EDT. So feel free, if it is that you're not able to join us in person, we're trying our best to provide this as well online so persons can join. And here we'll be looking at those system approaches to removing barriers to practice for internationally educated healthcare professionals in Canada. So look at those provinces that have those processes that are now geared towards easier integration of you as a healthcare practitioner coming into Canada. So what are those initiatives or those strategies that they're putting into place that can benefit you? All right, that's it for today. Like I said, if there is anything else that you would like to have covered or have a response to, feel free to email me and we'll be happy to forward the questions that you have to the respective parties for you to get a response. That's it for the session. Just one moment here. Thank you everyone for joining. And for those of you, well, the email address is posted there in the chat. Thank you, Mohammed, for posting that. The recordings from this session will be posted on our website, so you can go back there and review that as well. And I will ask Dr. Murgos and Dr. Abaspour, I know you didn't really share a PowerPoint slide, but if you do have a PowerPoint slide as well that you can share with us, that we can add to the recording information on the website as well, we would be very grateful for that. Thank you, everyone. Mohammed?
Thank you very much, Dwight, and our amazing doctors and participants.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
So that's it. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.